Hello, today is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. So it's a hump day, right? There are only 2 days left. This weekend, I will be staying in Seoul, not going back to Gwangju. I will do that next Wednesday, when the Thursday and Friday are holidays for me. So, and the next Monday and Tuesday, which are May 5th and 6th, are official holidays. So basically, I would have uh, 6 days time, 6 days work off, right? Off holiday. So day off for me, 6 days. So I'm excited about that, and I feel tired, but I could hang in there until that uh, Wednesday night when I would be driving back to Gwangju to meet my family. Currently, I'm staying at a company dormitory. I work for Korea Telecom (KT), the number one cloud service provider, or CSP, and the number one carrier in Korea. If you want to have a business established in Korea, you need a voice and data needs and a mobile service needs. Whenever that happens, I am the go-to person because I consult a lot of large corporations currently in Seoul. I'm a salesperson for KT. I'm a real employee, real steel, and Korean. I'm trying to become a Korean Trump impersonator. I am interested in becoming a Trump voiceover. You know that, right? Tremendous, right? So I'm the English-speaking KT consultant for foreign customers. Uh, Today, as with other day, I would like to read an English material to practice English. Yes, I just read uh, out loud the English materials of 20 minutes to 40 minutes length so that I can continue to practice English when there are no foreigners around me, right? It's a quite desolate, bleak uh, situation. The title is Squirrels could be the key to getting us into deep space. How'd you know that, right? This one is from popsci.com. I really liked popular science when back in college years because, I was uh, attending the Cheonnam National University as a mechanical engineering student, and I really liked English, but there were no materials available, so I always came to Seoul and bought this popular science magazine and read it for a month or two back in Gwangju City, back at the Cheonnam National University. So it was really relieving my desire, my intention, tenacity to learn English by reading this magazine. I really recommend it. Plus, tuberculosis helped shape the world as we know it by popular science team. What's the weirdest thing you learned this week? Well, whatever it is, we promise you will have an even weirder answer if you listen to Pop Science a Hit podcast. The weirdest thing I learned this week hits Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and everywhere else you listen to podcasts every other Wednesday morning. It's our new favorite source for the strangest science adjacent facts, figures, and Wikipedia spirals the editors of Popular Science can muster. If you like the stories in this post, we guarantee you will love the show. Fact: Squirrels could hold the secret to long-distance spaceflight. By Lauren Leffer. Certain species of ground squirrels hibernate underground without any food or water for up to 8 months of the year. Really? Squirrels, so they hibernate. I didn't know. They just, I don't know, certain species of ground squirrels hibernate underground without any food or water for up to 8 months of the year. It's a super extreme survival strategy enabled by a complicated cascade of physiological processes, some of which we understand and many of which scientists are still trying to figure out. Helping them along is funding and interest from heavy hitters in the research world like NASA, the European Space Agency, and private aerospace companies. Because since the 1960s, those with their eyes on the stars have wondered if human hibernation could enable us to travel farther and more safely in space. Hibernation isn't just a long nap, it's a closer to death than sleep. While in hibernation, torpor, that's a good word, right? Torpor, right? Quiet, right? Torpor. Sorry, I was trying to use under right up functionality, torpor. Ground squirrels endure up to a 95% reduction in their metabolic rate. Their heart and respiration rates drop to a few beats and breaths per minute. Their brain waves go flat. Right, flat, go flat. Their body temperatures plummet to near freezing for some species. Wow, or even below freezing for Arctic ground squirrels. That's amazing. Below freezing, you are still alive. Yet, amid all of this, the squirrels stay pretty healthy, maintaining muscle mass, reversing pre-hibernation diabetes, experiencing uh, organ regeneration, stalling aging, and undergoing physiological shifts that can ward off things like radiation damage. For these reasons and more, scientists have been studying it if we can harness the power of squirrel hibernation for ourselves. It could help propel us to outer reaches of the galaxy. Even if it doesn't, it's poised to fuel some big earthbound biomedical advances. Listen to learn more about squirrel cycles, the challenges of long distance space travel, and the ultimate in restorative rest, or read all about it in this Popular Science feature article. Squirrels. What is a sickles, man? Tuberculosis? So squirrel sickles, right? Fact: tuberculosis helped shape the world as we know it by John Green. Tuberculosis has been curable since the 1950s, yet it remains the deadliest infectious disease in the world, killing 1.5 million people each year. That's a lot. That's largely due to our failure to get treatment to those who need it. I talk all about how tuberculosis shaped the world and how humanity has allowed it to thrive thanks to injustice and inequality. In my new book, Everything is Tuberculosis: The History and Persistence of Our Deadliest Infection. On this week's episode of Weirdest Thing, I share the story of a man who became consumed with finding a cure for consumption. What? In the 18th and 19th centuries, TB, tuberculosis, thrived in the crowded living and working conditions of industrializing cities, yet people believed it was an inherited disease, even romanticizing it as a mark of beauty and artistic sensitivity. James Watt, famed for his contributions to the steam engine, dedicated years to trying to cure TB after his children became ill with the disease. His failed contraption, which treated TB by pushing carbon dioxide into the lungs to reduce the amount of air there, was closer to viable than you might think, really. So pushing carbon dioxide into the lungs to reduce the amount of air there. The bacteria that causes TB is highly aerobic, meaning it needs lots of oxygen to survive. Sometimes doctors actually collapse one lung to help patients recover from TB. That was much more common in the early 20th century, but it's a technique still employed for some treatment-resistant cases of TB today. Today, despite being curable, TB still kills millions, and recent funding cuts threaten to worsen the spread of drug-resistant TB, raising the specter of a world where the disease regains its early 20th century deadliness, right? Specter, that's a good word. Cushion, right? Here, specter, raising the specter of a world where the disease regains its early 20th century deadliness. If you want to learn more, you can find Everything is Tuberculosis, the history and persistence of our deadliest infection, anywhere books are sold. Fact. So that was interesting, right? In fact, if you're really, really unlucky and then really, really lucky, your brain can turn into glass. When Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 CE, it buried thousands of people in ash, preserving eerie casts of their final moments. But one unfortunate resident may have been preserved in an even more extreme way by having his brain turned to glass. Researchers recently confirmed that glassy black fragments found in a skull from the eruption are vitrified brain tissue, right? Vitrified, marking the only known case of an animal's tissue undergoing this process. It took a perfect storm of extreme heat and rapid cooling to make this happen, and it's unlikely to have ever happened before or to ever happen again. Tune into this week's episode to learn how it all went down. So these are like three weirder stories from coming from popsci.com, right? And it was easy English, but with several good expressions, right? Like raising the specter of in the 20th century deadliness of specter is the phantom, worry, and so on. Well, before I close this article, I would like to go over what I try to remember, right, by going over these three stored snapshots, capture, raising the specter of a world where the disease regains its early 20th century deadliness. Squirrel cycles. The manga looks good, right? Squirrel cycles. Torpor. What is a squirrel cycles, right? Cycles. Popsicle, right? Popsicle. This is cycle, right? Scythe, right? Scythe. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening and have a wonderful Wednesday.